So in the 90s, there was like this big, huge intellectual, push or about apologetics. And a lot of times us Catholics would have conversations with our separated brothers in Christ, and we would bring out this particular passage. And it says this. It says, we are working our salvation. We are being saved. The actual quote was, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. So, as Catholics, we believe you can lose your salvation. Even though you believe in Jesus, mortal sin can separate us and we can lose our salvation. Confession helps us regain our salvation. So literally, if you lose it, you go to confession, but then you can save it. But with Protestants, they believe that once saved, always saved. Well, as Catholics, we actually don't believe that, nor does Paul. So I would talk to them about, look, it says being saved. Notice he doesn't say you believers are already saved. You notice he says that. So if St. Paul, the great apostle, he even says, I work out my salvation in fear and trembling. If an apostle is freaked out and nervous about losing his salvation, I think you should too. Because that usually ended the conversation. That is, as I mentioned yesterday, that's the tension we have, that nervousness we should have, that we should be aware that we can freely choose. There's some great sinners in the Catholic Church. Hitler's a classic example of one. People don't realize that he was a baptized Catholic. Mother Teresa, baptized Catholic. St. John Paul II, baptized Catholic. John Wayne, a baptized Catholic 6 months before he died. Did you know that? I know his grandson, so I know the story. This idea of always being ready, see, a wise person is somebody who is always ready. Who is the classic symbol of preparedness, right? Boy Scouts, right? Eagle Scouts, always prepared. My friend is an Eagle Scout. His brother's an Eagle Scout. You know how rare it is to have two Eagle Scouts in the same family? It's like very uncommon. And he's always prepared. Drives me crazy sometimes. I go, why do you have that little tool? Sure enough, it comes in handy once a year. He's prepared. I think it's in the spiritual life, we should have that idea that we are being saved, that we are working out our salvation in fear and trembling, that we are not guaranteed salvation. If we freely choose not to be saved, if we choose to be saved, we will be saved. Confession is for us. Confession is the greatest sacrament. It has the worst press of them all. Besides the Eucharist, confession should be something that people participate in regularly. Like when you wash your car. Do you wait 6 months to wash your car? I do. But I go to confession anyways. I always use that as an analogy. Is your car dirty? Yeah, go to confession. Because the sacraments were given to us because Jesus Christ is wise. And for us to be wise, we would participate in the sacraments. Confession is not your enemy. Hell is. The devil is. Confession is your friend. What do you think the first sacrament Jesus gave us at the resurrection is? Confession. That's how important it is. He could have said, hey guys, I'm back. First thing, he's breathed life into them and said, what sins you retained are retained, what sins you are forgiven are forgiven. That's the first thing Jesus said after to the apostles, and gave them the authority to hear confessions and to absolve, or not to absolve, depending on the situation. Think about that. Of everything Jesus could have done, he chose confession as the first act to give the apostles the authority to do. That's really clear. I get that one, Jesus, and I love that sacrament. I love hearing confessions. When Paul talks about the wisdom of the Greeks and the stumbling blocks of the Jews, For some Catholics, confession is a stumbling block. Why? I don't know. But to be wise and to be intelligent and smart, one would participate in the sacraments, especially the Eucharist and confession. Now, daily Mass communicants are usually those people, but as you can tell, the church isn't full. It's because you're the wise ones, and 99.9% of them aren't getting it. And you should ask yourself, how come I get it and they don't? Because God gave you a grace. He gave you an aha moment. He might have given you something that made you realize that you understand the gift of the Eucharist. But I'm also going to give you the gift of confession as another sacrament that is our friend, not our enemy. Please stand.